aren't only the victims of environmental problems, they can also be a focus for change. The United Nations in New York recently staged a World Summit for Children. The President of Mexico organised it.
What has been your involvement with the Nature Series?
It was accidental in a way, really. The original editor of the programme, the man whose idea the programme was, wanted it to have a rather hard-nosed approach, a journalistic approach, almost a confrontational approach to environmental problems. So he was looking around for a reporter, and I'd just come back from Africa at that time, and I'd done quite a lot of reporting about the consequences of environmental problems in Africa, like the famine in Ethiopia and so on. He picked me, he asked me, and I said yes. The poor areas of Mexico City are awash with polluted water. Open sewers run through the streets, irresistible playgrounds for the young. While adults' preoccupations have moved on perhaps in the last 2 or 3 years, the collapse of communism, the Gulf War obviously, and the recession, I suppose, all these things preoccupy adults, and to an extent for them environmental issues, while still important, have kind of slipped down their agenda. That's not the case for children. You talk to kids and the environment, you know, the world in which they're going to have to live after all for the next 65 or 70 years, we've got rather less I suspect, you know, is really important to them. It's at the top of their agenda, and I think that's both hopeful and interesting.
We're here in New York reporting from the United Nations for the World Summit for Children. Various leaders from 71 countries around the globe are expected to attend.
I always find it terribly embarrassing working with children, mainly because they're so direct and so simple, and always ask the question that you think, I'd have wrapped that up and made it terribly complicated, and you know, never really quite got to the point. But in 3 or 4 words, the kids sort of say, yeah, but why are you doing that?
Are there many children in Brazil living on the streets? If so, what is being done to house them, immunize them, and most important, make sure they have proper nutrition?
I got the impression that they weren't expecting us to ask some of the hard-hitting questions that we did about different countries.
Meanwhile, the 4 of us were arriving at the UN, fancying our chances of doorstepping political leaders as they arrived.
Sir, could you say a few words from the children's paper in English? Sure, yeah.
So what do you see as being the broadcaster's responsibility to the environment?
The one thing they've not got to do is tell people what to think. The primary responsibility is to put as many of the facts as possible, the relevant facts as possible, in front of people, to tell both sides of the argument. I think that's very, very important, and let people decide for themselves.
I feel sorry for the poor guy. Imagine having your island disappearing.
Thousands of years of culture lost.
Yeah.
And asks whether America's